Hi, my name is Clara Feder. I am Yuri Gudzat's daughter-in-law. I am also the creative director of Le Jardin, Retrouvé, and I am also the co-owner of Le Jardin, Retrouvé. Today I'm going to introduce you our perfumer, Maxence Moutte, who revives the formulas of my father-in-law that were made between 1963 and 1990. Maxence, very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. This is Maxence Moutte. Originally, where are you from?
I come from Provence.
Oh,
it's
right.
where I grew up,
Okay.
close to the lavender fields, and all these beautiful smells of garlic with rosemary and thyme, fennel. That's some of my favorite ingredients.
What's your favorite note in the world?
I think I would pick Cistus labdanum. This material comes from all the Mediterranean basin, and especially in the south of Spain, in Andalusia. And Cistus labdanum is super rich, super complex. I love it because it's so sensual. It's warm, it's deep, it's rich. It has some kind of sweet vanilla aspect, but it's also spicy, cinnamon-like. There's a bit of dirty animalic notes that some people really hate, but I just find it fascinating. There's as well a very complex and rich incense type of smell. I just love it.
Well, on the contrary, what is the note you do not like at all?
Tricky one, because as a perfumer, you always tend to find an interest in some ingredients, even though you don't really like them. Having said that, maybe I would say not a big fan of jasmine, which is maybe not something that we expect from a perfumer. But, I tend to find most of the jasmine extracts we have a bit dirty, almost urine-like, which I find really unpleasant. Even though some grades, you get a very natural green aspect and a bit of a velvety apricot note, which is also very pleasant. So yeah, I would say I don't like all the cheap urine jasmines.
Okay. Which is not the one we have.
No. No.
Yes, because our jasmine comes from India.
Yes.
And from providers that were with Yuri a long, long time ago. Maybe it's an exception to your...
And this one is greener and it's more vegetal, floral, and doesn't get so much in the dirtiness.
Yes.
And as well, something to keep in mind, that in the way you blend materials, sometimes some material that you don't like as such can become really like treasures. Depending on what you blend them with, it's really like making an assemblage for wines. No, it's like with a character.
Yeah,
sometimes there's some people that you appreciate for their little negative aspect, because they're a bit like maybe rough. But in a way that makes them different, and that you want to go back to them just because there's these little different things. And if not, then everyone will be boring.
Yes, absolutely. If you could choose one fragrance that you have been recreating for Le Jardin Retrouvé, which fragrance would it be?
Tough question. I think I would go for Cuir de Russie. I just find it really pretty. It's very floral and delicate leather note. It's not a very dark, smoky kind of leather. It's much more floral with a lot of aspect of violets, which I really appreciate. There's some greenery, there's very kind of soft, gentle, almost suede kind of leather, which blends very nicely with skin, which I find very delicate. So I think I would pick that one for its delicacy, even though it has quite a strong character.
Oh, do you wear it?
Yes, from time to time. That's my favorite one for me to wear. Yeah, I really like it.
Okay. What did your parents wear, and what struck you as a kid?
Being French, that might be no surprise that I come from a kind of Guerlain family, and I grew up with a smell of Guerlinade. My mother wore Jiki. My father had, for a time, Habit Rouge. my grandfather had Habit Rouge, and at the time my brother had also Habit Rouge. So I think I grew up with this garlinade kind of fragrances with orientals, with vanilla and cistus, powdery note, which I'm just in love with. But it's just because I think I just grew up with that. And yeah, what's more precious than just the smell of your parents when you're a baby? You just stick to it.
Maybe you have, like when you were little, some kind of scent or that you really loved and you feel nostalgic about today.
Yeah, I have one. It's another very French one, okay? But it's about the smell of a glue. We had this glue called Cléopâtre in France, but all kids had, and that was flavored or scented, I don't know, maybe more scented because it's a glue, with a smell of almonds, bitter almonds, and it smelled like so lovely. And you know, it's a glue that I think all kids in France tried to eat at some point because it smells so nice. So I sniffed glue when I was a kid.
What does Paris smell like for you?
I think there could be many things, because you could think of a smell on the streets, and then I could think of hot bread, the smell of hot bread from bakeries, and I love bread. I'm very French, so I'm being super French. So. What else could it be? Oh, it could be like the smell of, what do you call that? Le goudron.
Asphalt.
Yeah, it could be the smell of asphalt, like when it gets hot in summer. And then you get this kind of dusty and leathery nose. Maybe then this is less unique to Paris. Maybe it could be like all the cities, all the big cities. So I stick to hot bread then.
If you were not making perfume, what would you be doing?
I would be sad. But that's not the job. My plan B when I was a student and thinking that maybe one day I'll never get a chance to become a perfumer was to become a teacher, a literature teacher. It was my plan B, so maybe this would be the case. Fortunately, I managed to get my way to perfumery and to get the job of perfumer.
Did you have a guilty pleasure or a vice or anything you would like to talk about?
I generally never really go crazy, and I do quite follow rules, but there's something that there's no limit for me is chocolate. Dark chocolate, no limits, whatever the time, it's just like, it's midnight, I want to have chocolate, I'm gonna have chocolate.
That's a very nice vice.
Could have been worse.
Do you have an advice that was given to you at one point and that you would like maybe to share?
Get my way, maybe in perfumery, I've always been told to be patient. I think it's really something very characteristic to this job. You need to be patient to maybe work along your studies and maybe to get one day into a perfumery training, and then you need to be patient all over these years along your trainings. They are all compulsory. It takes years to learn your ingredients, to learn how to blend them. And then when you start and you have a title of a junior perfumer, you have to be patient because it's just gonna take 5 years, 10 years to really become a proper perfumer and to be able to really masterize your ingredients, to feel confident in what you're doing. I've been a perfumer for more than 10 years now, and I think I still need to learn patience, because there's some days I think I know what I'm doing, and some days I just think I'm still learning, and there are things that I don't understand.
Recreating the formulas of Yuri, has it taught you anything?
A bit of patience again, but I would say it's more than trying to put my feet in somebody else's shoes, to understand formula designed by someone else. As a creative perfumer, normally my job is to create my own formula and to follow my own logic, using the ingredients I'm used to, and my own logic of creation. Here you have to step down, look at the formula, and try to understand why Yuri has picked this ingredient and not that one, why it's more relevant, why it seems to be a better balance. What does it bring to the whole formula? I'm not sure I've understood all of them yet.
You are at peace when
I'm in a quite silent place, and I would say certainly surrounded by plants or flowers. I appreciate them a lot. They're pretty, they're fascinating. It was fascinating to see how suddenly everything starts blooming in just a few days, and it's captivating, and it also learns patience, and I just feel relaxed among these plants or flowers. But it has to be very quiet, or just maybe a little noise of birds, or just a bit of breeze, but this is it.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Clara. Thank you.